Vaseline. This, you guys, is Vaseline. You probably recognize it because it's one of the most versatile, most inexpensive skincare products on the market. And it has been for years and years and years. So today we're gonna talk about 10 different ways that you can use Vaseline in your skincare routine. I feel like I don't need to explain what Vaseline is, but because the nature of my videos is to explain things, I'm going to explain it a little bit. So Vaseline is petroleum jelly. Petroleum jelly is a byproduct of fossil fuels. Yes, that sounds gross. That sounds like that might be disgusting. It sounds like it might be bad for the environment. It's not. When it's a byproduct, it's usually a good thing. It means that whatever byproduct came off of the fossil fuel, it's not going to waste. It's actually being turned into something that can be useful. They have filtered it. They have made it very cosmetically elegant. It is not a dirty ingredient. I know that it's probably in the clean movement and in trendy, like natural movement and stuff like that. It is not a nice ingredient, but there's nothing wrong with petroleum jelly. It's actually a very great ingredient, especially if you want something occlusive, because it really doesn't get more occlusive than this when it comes to your skincare products. And that's one of the reasons why it is so versatile. It's also super cheap, which is another reason why it's so versatile. It's great for everybody. And if you think about it, this is the OG skincare product. This is the one where every household has had it. People have used it for so many different reasons. Some of them that I'm going to share with you guys today. Is it my go-to ingredient / product for everything? No, I feel like there are so many more elegant products out there that you don't need just goopy petroleum jelly, especially petroleum jelly on its own like this, like Vaseline. And it's really just great for what it is. If you guys don't know, it's a mix of waxes and mineral oils, and it creates this occlusive barrier on your skin. So it doesn't hydrate your skin. It doesn't actually add any kind of hydration and moisture. It just locks and seals everything in. Then there really isn't an ingredient out there that does it the way petroleum jelly does it. Can it get more elegant? Can you add it to lots of other formulations to make it feel even nicer and better? Absolutely. That's why we see, like CeraVe Healing Balm and Aquaphor. These are all products that utilize petroleum jelly as like the main ingredient, but they add in all these other nice ingredients that add more to the experience of using petroleum jelly, like ceramides or, panthenol, which is also strengthening for the skin. So those products are essentially just nicer versions of Vaseline. So the funny thing about Vaseline, the reason why I wanted to do this video is because it is, just like everything else, it's like a trend that comes and goes. TikTok has really brought Vaseline or just petroleum jelly back into, I guess, a trend, into a skincare trend. And there's really good reason for that. But, you guys, if you've been watching my channel for a while, I have been a beauty editor. I've been in the media for years. 2 decades, you guys. Back when I was getting started in my career, so in like the early 2000s, and I'm sure this goes back even further for other people that have been, beauty editors and in the industry and stuff like that, we used to write articles all the time on like 10 ways to use Vaseline, 50 ways to use Vaseline. I mean, I've seen such ridiculous lists before that say like 100 ways to use Vaseline. And they're not all different ways to use it in your skincare routine, which is what we're talking about here in this video. But there are just so many ridiculous uses of Vaseline. And even the ones that I'm going to share with you, I'm not saying that these are uses of Vaseline that I prefer. These are just uses of Vaseline. You can technically do this. So the first way to use Vaseline is the intended purpose of Vaseline. That is to heal dry skin or to protect dry skin. So again, the way it works is it locks in all of the moisture. So we've talked about TOOL, that is transepidermal water loss. You want a little bit of water loss. You want your skin to be functioning the way it's supposed to. And that kind of involves this process of, like gaining hydration, losing hydration. It's a steady process. But when you have dry skin, you really want to lock it in as much as possible and hold it there. So Vaseline, there's nothing else that does it the way Vaseline does. Vaseline on its own, petroleum jelly on its own does not actually give you that hydration though. So you need to add a hydrator underneath it. So you need to hydrate your skin, you need to put your moisturizer on, and then you lock it all in with something like Vaseline, with your petroleum jelly. Again, there are other products on the market like the CeraVe, like the Aquaphor that have these ingredients that can help with this, but I still think even when you're using those versions of petroleum jelly, you still need to wear something underneath it, otherwise you're not going to get the full benefit. This is truly to lock it all in. For people that have like dry, cracky heels, I mean, there are other products on the market that have taken petroleum jelly and just added different ingredients to it to make it a better fit for whatever ailment you're dealing with. So for dry cracked heels, for instance, there is Kerasal that's on the market, which is essentially, it's like petroleum jelly in a little tube, in a metal tube, and it has salicylic acid in it. And you guys all know salicylic acid will help exfoliate your skin. So that combination, when you put it onto your dry cracked heels, helps to soften your heels, but also then, you know, it helps to get rid of all that flakiness that you're getting from your dry heels too. So that's truly how simple it gets. You could literally take some of this Vaseline, you could, you know, like after you take a shower or take a bath or something while your skin is still a little bit damp, you could take some salicylic acid treatment that you have, put it onto your dry cracked heels, then top it with some Vaseline, and you've essentially got Kerasal. Second intended purpose of Vaseline is to heal and protect your skin ailments. So we're talking about wounds, we're talking about rashes, we're talking about things like eczema. So that is another reason why people ever got interested in Vaseline. And if you know, like doctors, dermatologists specifically will recommend, I don't even think they really recommend Vaseline anymore these days. Again, they go back to the Aquaphor and they go back to the CeraVe Healing Balm. And the reason for that is because it's formulated with other ingredients that are a little bit more strengthening for the skin than Vaseline on its own. But this is the OG, and the main ingredient is petroleum jelly. So even if as a mom, the pediatrician will tell you for baby rashes and stuff, you can use something like Vaseline to help heal it. And what it's doing is it's creating that occlusive barrier to help protect that area. So if you do have a wound, if you do have some kind of an ailment, it is not only helping to seal it in, but it's helping to protect it. And when you are creating that protective seal over these types of skin ailments, it's also accelerating the healing process. The next way to use Vaseline is in the trend that has brought Vaseline back in, and that is called slugging. If you guys don't know what slugging is, it's exactly what it sounds like it would be. You put a layer of petroleum jelly or CeraVe Healing Balm or Aquaphor, whatever it is that you want to get that is mostly petroleum jelly, and then you apply it as the final step of your skincare routine to just really lock everything in and just like maximize the hydration and moisture that you have for your skin and that protection that you have for your skin. So this is great for people with dry skin. This is great for people, like in the winter time when their skin gets a lot drier. Maybe you're, sleeping in a strong heater or something like that where you feel like it's just making your skin get a little bit cracky and stuff. This is what petroleum jelly is really good for. I personally don't love to slug on a regular basis. I don't slug my face. It sounds like I want to like punch my face. I don't really necessarily do that on a regular basis, even though I do have dry skin. I just think there are other products, ingredients out there that are a little bit more cosmetically elegant to me. There are literally sleep masks on the market that just feel so much nicer on the skin, in my opinion. That said, I know a lot of people love it. I tend to do it when I have some type of a procedure done to my skin, so like a laser treatment, if I get microneedling, for instance, or a chemical peel or something like that. What I'll do is I will take some squalane oil, put a few drops on my face to just help really heal it, and then I'll top it with something like the CeraVe Healing Balm or Aquaphor. I really don't actually reach for Vaseline, but Vaseline serves that same exact purpose. It's going to do exactly what you want it to do, and that's just to lock everything in and accelerate that healing process and protect your skin. I have an entire video about slugging. If you guys want to watch that, you can find out why I don't do it on a regular basis, but why you might want to do it on a regular basis too. Another way that you can use Vaseline is as lip balm, as simple as that. I think that makes sense since you can use it technically to obviously like top all that moisture on your face and everything and lock everything in. It makes sense that it would be a lip balm. You can take it a step further and make it a lip scrub by adding some sugar to it and putting it on your lips and then even wiping it off after that. Or you could even do something as simple as, like put Vaseline on your lips and then take a toothbrush and just gently exfoliate your lips. Gentle is the key word here, but just gently exfoliate your lips, and it turns into a great way to get those smooth, juicy lips. Another way that you can use Vaseline in your skincare routine is when you are starting new actives, or like even just strong actives. If you're adding like a retinoid to your skincare routine or some type of an exfoliator to your skincare routine, what you can do in the areas where you feel like your skin is a little bit more sensitive, like for instance, for me, it's in this area around my nose. Whenever I'm starting like a stronger retinoid, I will do exactly what I've seen dermatologists and plastic surgeons do and stuff, and they'll take some Vaseline and they'll just put it in those areas to help protect it. And then they'll put, like the strong active on the skin. So like when I've seen dermatologists do chemical peels, for instance, they'll protect like the eye area, around the eye, they'll protect around the nose, around the lips, that kind of stuff. And then they'll put the chemical peel onto the skin. And they do that because the Vaseline will help protect all those little sensitive areas. You can also use Vaseline as an eye cream. Yes, I know, I've talked about this. I'm not a huge fan of using eye creams, but this actually makes way more sense to me. So what you could do is, take something like some type of an active serum or something if you feel like you need a little bit more help in the eye area. What I would do is tap that serum or that cream on your orbital bone, because you don't need to bring it up all the way to your eye. It's going to travel a little bit. And then to really lock in those benefits, you can take a little layer of Vaseline and just, smooth it over that area and really lock it in so it goes to work right in that area where you need it. That would actually be a great way to do this. And then you're not getting full-blown slugging on your face. You're just keeping it to that area where you need a little extra love. Another way you can use Vaseline is to remove your eye makeup. It makes a lot of sense if you think about it. If it's a combination of different waxes and mineral oils, then of course it's going to break down your makeup. Again, this isn't a way that I would choose to use Vaseline. There are just so many other ways that I feel like are so much more elegant these days. There are cleansing balms, there are cleansing oils, there are actual eye makeup removers out on the market that work really well. So I don't personally choose to use Vaseline to do this, but you can use it in a pinch, or if you have some Vaseline, you can definitely use it to remove your eye makeup. Even if you have like lashes, for instance, and you're having a hard time getting rid of that lash glue, this will help break it down. Another way that you can use Vaseline is to soothe your dry cuticles. If your cuticles are dry, if they're getting cracked, if you're washing your hands all the time and you have like cracks on even like your knuckles and stuff like that, just like you would use it on areas on your feet that are dry and stuff, you can use Vaseline to help lock in and really help soothe those little areas. So the way I would do it is after you wash your hands, I would put a moisturizer on, a regular moisturizer, and then I would really lock it in with your Vaseline. Another way you can use Vaseline is to protect your skin from chafing. I know like people who are runners, for instance, love to use Vaseline to help protect that from that chafing, like on their thigh area, because you get that friction. The place where I would recommend using Vaseline, and one that people don't think about, is to protect your feet from blisters. So if you are one of those people like me who will get that pair of shoes and you will make yourself deal with it, then you can use Vaseline to help prevent that friction that you might get. I know that sounds weird. You wanna just make sure you're using a really thin layer. You don't wanna make it really goopy, but you take a thin layer, put it onto, for instance, on the top back of your heel, where I tend to get a lot of my blisters when I'm wearing new shoes. I will just put like a really thin layer of Vaseline, and I'll even keep the Vaseline with me. And that's actually a really great way to prevent that friction so you don't end up with your blisters. And then the last way that you can use Vaseline, and it's very appropriate through the pandemic, is to help protect your skin from hair dye. So for everybody who started taking up dyeing their hair at home during the past year, then if you have noticed, you probably end up with some type of like hair dye, sometimes in funny like patterns on your scalp and stuff like that, or like along your forehead line and around your ear and stuff like that. So what you can do before you dye your hair is you just, again, take a very thin layer of the Vaseline, you put it along your hairline, and then you go and dye your hair, and it will help it from spreading so you don't end up with this big mess with your hair dye. So those are 10 ways to use Vaseline. Again, is it my product of choice? It's not, obviously, but I know that Vaseline's becoming very popular again. I know that people are just interested in it, and I think that, it is cool to have Vaseline around in your house because it is so versatile. These were just ways to use it in your skincare routine. You can truly Google like the hundreds of ways that you can use Vaseline just in your day-to-day life, because it's really fascinating. Some of it makes you go like, please, you cannot use, like, who would do that? It's more funny, if anything, but it's still interesting to see. And I, like I said, I keep a little tub like this of Vaseline because it is handy and you never know when you're gonna need it. Tell me in the comments below if you love Vaseline and if you've used it in any of the ways that I mentioned in this video, or if there are other ways that you recommend using Vaseline. Tell me if you're slugging too. I'm really curious to see who's like really hopped onto that trend. You can find me on Instagram. I'm at Susan Yara, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.